Merry early Christmas, everyone. And speaking of Christmas, what are you buying? Maybe you're buying a Nintendo Switch. Whether you're buying it for yourself or a friend or a loved one or a brother or a sister or a son or a daughter or whoever it is you might be buying one for, hard, cold truth that we all need to come to terms with is once you buy this thing, you're gonna need some games. And there are a lot of games for this thing already in the first year of its release, both on the eShop and physical. So where do you begin? If you have almost no knowledge about this thing, do you buy Skyrim? Do you buy Mario Odyssey? Do you buy Mario Rabbids? Do you buy Zelda? Do you buy this, that, this? There's so many choices, I'm so overwhelmed. Okay, so I can't afford all of it. Well, I thought it would be a good idea to make a little shopping list. Things that I think would be worth picking up and then things that maybe you should avoid this holiday season. So without further ado, I give to you, with joy in my heart and games in my cart, my list of reasons to buy a Switch this holiday season. Now in this list, I want to aim to cover a few areas when it comes to the games. The big budget titles, the mid-range games, and then cheap games. Because let's say I received a Switch on Christmas, there's a few games that I would definitely want to have in my stocking or under my Christmas tree. And then there's a few niceties, a few surprises that you can throw in cheap. If you really want to spoil the loved one you're buying games for, or even yourself, you could get both, but you need to at least get one. And honestly, I don't think it even matters which way you go. Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. Both of these games are incredible and they are currently the standout games for the system. Regardless of what happens over the next few years or the entire Switch's lifespan, these two games are going to be in the top 5. I can guarantee that, I promise you. These games are incredible and they are some of the best games the Switch will ever have to offer. And if you know someone that wants a Switch, I guarantee you they want at least one of these games, if not both. Now, and this goes for every game, pretty much every game I talk about in this list. If you want to find out a little bit more about the game, I have reviewed pretty much everything I'm talking about today, bar a few games. You can check out some links in the description below, and I actually reviewed both of these games with a friend in the same video, and I compared them. So if you really want to decide which game to go from, you can do it there. But if this Switch is for a kid especially, Splatoon 2, it's so fun. It's really fun. Again, I reviewed this game and you can check that out down below. It's a shooter game, but it's all with ink and squids and flipping around, and it's a lot of fun. I know that's a bad review. Again, check my review down below, it's a lot better. It's an online game. There's competitive nature to it, but it's just done in such a lighthearted way. Whether you are a kid or whether you are an adult, I had so much fun with this, and I'm almost 30 damn years old, so. Now the next game is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. As of right now I haven't played, but I've seen a lot of reviews online, people that have had early access to it, that have played it, and everyone's really loving it, everyone's really enjoying it. I enjoyed the first one. This is a game that's being released for the holiday season, so I wanted to put it out there. I will be doing a video on that, and if I've done it already at the point you're watching this, you can watch it down below. I'm really excited to pick this one up and play it, personally. This game was an absolute surprise of a game. I was excited for it, and I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. I love this game. Again, reviews down below. I'm trying to save time. You can watch my opinions on this game and find out a little bit more about it if you click that link in the description. It's Mario and Rabbids in the same game. There's a really cool story. It's really nicely animated. It almost feels like a Disney Pixar type adventure as far as the animation goes. Don't feel like buying Mario Odyssey and buying Mario and Rabbids is buying two Mario games. They're actually very, very different games. Mario is in both of them, but they play completely differently and have completely different feels to them. So don't be afraid to buy both Mario games. End games to avoid this holiday season. Now, the reason why I'm saying avoid these games, one of them because it's terrible and the other one's not terrible, I'm just saying stay away from it, is because there are so many good games to buy right now. There are so many good games out there to buy. I wouldn't waste money on a big budget $60 title like ARMS when you could buy a bunch of these mid-range titles I'm going to talk about, a bunch of the cheaper games I'm going to talk about, or any of those 4 games I just talked about in the big budget range title. Everything else comes before buying ARMS. Why? Splatoon's so much more fun, and that's also an online competitive type game. This is a boxing type game where you kind of punch with the controllers in your hands. You can do it motion controlled or you can do it with a controller. The reason why I'm saying to avoid it isn't because it's bad. It's a really nice polished game. In fact, when I first got it, I loved it, but I stopped playing after 2 weeks. I didn't expect that to happen. I just very, very quickly got bored. So my personal opinion, Mario Odyssey, Zelda, Splatoon, all the other games I'm about to recommend, it all takes precedent over this. If you are Mr. Moneybags, go ahead and buy it and try it out. By all means, again, it's a very polished game. I wouldn't buy it before anything else I talked about today. That's all I'm saying. And then the other one to stay away from is 1-2 Switch. I don't have it in my house. I don't have it near me. I don't want to breathe in proximity of that game. That game upset me. I waited until that game got cheaper at GameStop. I think I bought it at something like 40 bucks. I got it pre-owned, and thank goodness I did, because I returned it the next day. I found little to no fun in that game, and I've talked about this before. It's a game not worth buying. Don't get tricked into 1-2 switch. And I want to stress that, not to crap on the game more than I already have done in my videos, but because this video is not only, I'm hoping this video is not only for people that watch my channel every day, also people that are looking for tips to buy their kids Christmas presents. I don't want someone to waste their money on 1-2 switch, and it looks very appealing. It does look like a fun, I could see that through a mother's eyes as, ooh, this looks interesting, and cowboy on the front, your little Western drawers. It looks fun, but it's not, trust me. Now finally, for this big budget category, I have 4 other games. 4 other games that are gonna run you about $60. And these games aren't games that I don't recommend or I do recommend. They are a depends scenario type game. Those games are Mario Kart 8, Doom, Skyrim, and LA Noire. Now the reasons why I put these into a depends category is games like Doom and Skyrim, these are ports, meaning they were games that have already been out for a while. In fact, Skyrim came out about 4 or 5 years ago. Doom came out last year. Skyrim's been on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, everything, Xbox 360, Xbox One, now it's on Switch, it's also on PC. So depending on if you're buying this game for someone else, there's a good chance they've already played Skyrim. Maybe they're not ready to dive back into that world. Maybe that 60 bucks could have been spent somewhere else. So maybe fill that one out, see if that person has already played Skyrim. And same goes for Doom. They both are incredibly fun, and they run so well on the Switch. And again, if you want to see a review of Skyrim, click down below. I have a review of Doom coming eventually. Same goes with LA Noire. That was a game that came out a few years ago on 360 and PS3. So it's not a new game, it's a game that's been out for a while and now it's on Switch. Again, it runs really well, it's a really fun game. It just depends on if they've played it already, so fill that one out. If you're a regular viewer of the show and you're looking to buy games this holiday season and you already have a ton of games, as far as me recommending any of these 4 games that I'm talking about right now, yeah, absolutely. All of these games run so well on the Switch and they're so fun to play on the Switch. I mean, obviously I have them for that reason. Mario Kart 8, I have digital on my Switch. Mario Kart 8 was, again, on Wii U, so if you're buying this console for someone that has a Wii U or they played Wii U, chances are they've already played Mario Kart 8, and if they're like me, they played it to absolute death. But again, I want to make sure that this list caters to everyone, and some people might not realize that that game was also on the Wii U. Now for the midway titles, games are going to run about $30, $40. Now a few titles in this midway area that just came out recently actually, and I haven't had a chance to even review them yet, is Axiom Verge, Striker Gunvolt, and Resident Evil Revelations. Now Axiom Verge and Striker Gunvolt will appeal to those retro gamers out there. I wouldn't necessarily pick them up for my child if I was buying a Switch for my child, because I don't know how much it would interest them. I'd like to think it would interest my kid, but then I'm a retro gamer and he would have grown up with retro games. So Axiom Verge is a Castlevania Super Metroid type game, Metroidvania type game that people are absolutely loving. I haven't had a chance to play it for myself yet, but I've seen a lot of it online and it looks like a lot of fun. And Striker Gunvolt is done, it's like a spiritual successor to Mega Man Zero, and it actually has a lot of ex-Capcom members that worked on the game, and it came together really nicely. It's definitely a good spiritual successor. Both of these games are really fun, and if you're looking for some cheaper titles to pick up this Christmas, I definitely recommend buying them. And Resident Evil Revelations, the thing you gotta know buying this game going into it, which annoys me, is it's the first game and the second game. The first game is on the cart, the second game is like 28 gigs and you have to download it because it couldn't fit on the cart. And that means you're gonna have to buy an SD card for your Switch right off the bat. Now a few of these games like Doom, I think you have to buy an SD card for, especially if you wanna play online. A few of these games are a little hefty, but this one for sure, if you buy this game, you're going to need to get a bigger micro SD in the bottom of your Switch. That's something, if you have no idea what any of that means, you can talk to GameStop about that. But for those of you that do know what it means, you'll need to get a bigger SD card for sure. They run really great on the Switch. The first game, Resident Evil Revelations, was made for portable systems. It was made for a 3DS, so again, it feels right at home on the Switch. And the second game, in my opinion, is better than the first one. It's a lot creepier. This Resident Evil Revelations pack is actually a really cool addition to the Switch, and I love that it's on the Switch. I don't like the whole not having the second game on the cartridge thing, but they're a lot of fun. And 2 games you might head out to GameStop or Best Buy, wherever it is that you go, and you might think, my kid might like that game. That game looks pretty interesting. I maybe wouldn't recommend buying it this holiday season, and that is Super Bomberman R, which I might catch some flack for because I know they've put out a bunch of patches and they've worked on this game since it came out, and actually since I played it last. I've been told that it's a lot better now and has a lot more meat to it, but I just wasn't overly impressed by the game. It still just felt like the Bomberman games I've played for years, and no matter how much you add to it, it just kind of felt like it'd been done before. If you've never played a Bomberman game before, maybe you can find some fun in it, but I'm just saying there are so many games out for the Switch right now that this probably isn't high on anyone's list, and I wouldn't recommend putting it high on anyone's list. Is it a bad game? Not necessarily. It's just a little bit dull, in my opinion. And the other mid-range game to avoid that you might think looks good is Sonic Heroes. This game came out very recently and let everyone down. I'm not gonna stand here and trash the game because it's been done enough. I'm just saying, no matter how good you think it looks, it's not. It's better than some Sonic games, but not by much. Now, time for some cheap games. The first one being Sin Mora X, another game I haven't talked about on my channel yet. It's a shoot 'em up type game. This game has been released before, but I don't think you have to worry about someone having played it, because I doubt it's not one of them games that everyone has played. And to be honest, this is the best way to play it. It's actually even includes some voice acting, some English voice acting that was missed in the original titles, as well as some other stuff. Decent game, but it's definitely a good time killer, time waster, and it's a cheap title. So if you have 20, 30 bucks left over, you can find it for 20 pre-owned now at GameStop. I'm pretty sure it's already 20 bucks pre-owned. But I actually would recommend the other one over that one because, in my opinion, It'll Do 2 is leagues better. I mean, these are the two games that I found at a cheap range that were worth buying, but It'll Do 2 is so good. That game is like Link to the Past. Old school Link to the Past. It has an adorable look to it. Almost everyone's gonna love it. Old gamers, new gamers, beginner gamers, experienced gamers. This is just one of them cute, adorable games. Remind you of old Zelda games. If you haven't played a Zelda game, it'll be a great experience for you, a great awakening into Zelda-esque type video games. It's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend picking this one up. For the price point, oh yeah, I was actually really excited when I found out how cheap this game was. Again, look for these games pre-owned and you'll probably get them for 20 bucks. And the cheap game to avoid, I've seen it for 10 bucks, especially after Black Friday, and I know it seems cheap. I mean, honestly, 10 bucks, you can't really go wrong with 10 bucks for anything, but Has Been Heroes is a game that I don't recommend picking up and playing. And I caught flack last time I said that, but I'm gonna stand by it just because I got the game and I just didn't have a lot of fun. You know, it's bad because I played it for like 10 hours. And it was I definitely got my money's worth out of it. I got addicted to it because I wanted to prove to the game that I was better than it. So I played it a lot. I just didn't enjoy it while I was playing it. It was weird. It was the first time I've been addicted to trying to beat a game to prove that I could do it. But this game was just not fun. I wasn't having fun, but I couldn't stop. It was hell. It was terrible. But I wouldn't. There's other things you could get for 10 bucks, like a meal at Whataburger, which is delicious. Well guys, again, my aim for this video wasn't only to target the people that watch my channel every single day. I'm hoping to help some other people this holiday season that are looking for some good recommendations for Switch games. I wanted to try and recommend some things that I've recommended before, but bleeding into the holiday season, or maybe just to refresh everyone on the last year of games and what's gonna be great to buy for Christmas, for yourself or loved ones. I don't know what I tried to do in this video. I hope it came through the way that I intended. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you just sat here for 10 minutes, but hopefully you had a good time regardless. Let me know down below if this list was any help to you, if you're gonna pick up any of these games, or if not and you just enjoyed it. I would love to hear what you have to say. Like the video because you know it really helps me out. Actually, it helps me out a lot more than you think it will. Remember to subscribe. Oh, and one thing you guys might be wondering is, oh, all these physical games, it's all well and good, but what about on the eShop? What games should I buy this holiday season on the eShop? What should I download digitally? You didn't give any digital titles. I don't sound like this, Wood. Why are you making me sound like this? Well, I'm working on another 10 eShop games worth buying in time for Christmas, which will hopefully be my next video after this one, or very shortly after. And there'll be a link down below, and once it's out, you can click at the end of this video and you can watch that, and I hope you do. I hope I helped spread some holiday cheer with Christmas oh so very near. It's time for me to go and say my goodbye, and I want you guys to subscribe. That was improvised. I'm not kidding. That was just all. I had no idea what I was about to say. Did that even rhyme? I hope it did.
So you're watching beat 'em ups.
You watching